I understand that you had a change in your work at the library from working back in the stacks to now working out at the front desk. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me more about that? What that's been like for you?
Well, my supervisor is pretty busy, and he doesn't like to be bothered. He already thinks I'm not suited for the job.
He said something to you about that?
No, not exactly. But when I'm with him, I can sense that my customers have complained.
How is that?
Well, when they ask me something, I tell them. But I don't make small talk. I guess I've always been a Pluto, out beyond the rest, encircling, ever watching, and seeing more in the darkness than the rest.
I talked to your sister briefly, and she said that she hasn't really noticed any changes in you, that you're pretty much the way you usually are.
Constancy is a virtue.
Are you friends with any of your coworkers?
Well, I did have lunch once with some of them. But I've been reading such depressive books lately that when I think about them, it upsets their meal. They can feel my feelings. So, I eat by myself.
Have any of your coworkers been helpful to you recently about this move from the stacks to the front desk?
Well, we don't talk.
If you do have something you want to talk about, with whom do you talk?
I guess the last person was my college roommate.
In what way was he helpful?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
You said that your college roommate had been helpful to you if you needed somebody to talk to.
Not that often. And mainly about studies. We both worked very hard in school. I could often tell what he was thinking, and I knew when to leave him alone.
Where is he now?
He died.
When was that?
A few years ago.
How did that happen?
I'm not sure. We didn't talk after graduation. I remember reading about his death in an alumni magazine. And I remember receiving a feeling that something had happened to him even before I read that story. I already felt he was dead, and often felt as though he were in the room with me. Then, when I read that story, I understood.
What did you understand?
Well, I threw his picture away just before he died.
Have you had any new or puzzling sensations recently?
Well, from time to time, I can smell a very disagreeable odor. concerned that it's coming from me. It worries me.
What do you do about the odor?
I take a lot of showers, but the odor, it's malicious, piercing.
Does the odor hamper you in any way?
Well, recently I've tried to avoid getting too close to people when I'm at work at the desk, especially girls.
What sort of contact do you have with women?
Well, several work at the desk. From time to time. I don't like this room. I can sense an evil spirit in here.
What were you feeling just then?
Well, I guess I was distracted by the specks on the wall and how small they are in comparison to the entire wall. I was thinking about distance, proportion, and size. I'm fascinated by outer space and the proportion one can see there. I was just there a minute.
Do you have you ever seen a psychiatrist or psychologist or some other kind of counselor before today?
No.
Do you ever see or hear things that may not be there that other people don't see or hear?
Do you ever hear things or see things that other people don't hear? No? Oh no. I had an uncle who drank heavily, and he would hallucinate. But I do not drink or use drugs. The director of public libraries mailed me a letter this year saying that we should keep up our public image. Somehow, I think he knew I had been reading D.H. Lawrence.
Do you think the director of city libraries knows what you read?
No, I guess not. But I bet he wouldn't approve.
Do you know if anyone else received a letter from the director of city libraries?
I don't know. But if he thinks by my working at the front desk is ruining the library's public image, then I'll quit.